sustainability offices, recycled materials and stuff like that, and play create zones and everything. And what we saw that if we took all these and we wanted to prioritize them, it was we all wanted them combined. Yeah? And we saw that the system that was behind it is a system of 3 levels in which we have services, we have content, and we have hardware that supports them. So we looked at that and we thought like, oh, well, wait a second, before we come to all the definition of all these stuff, we should have a kind of a combined application story that elaborates or at least tells the story why we need all these kind of systems and services and solutions. So for us in the group we decided, okay, but maybe that's the most important. First we combine the application stories, and not only the application stories that Philips has, but and these application stories that Hayward have, but let's combine them and see where we can overlap, where we have mutual strengths and beautiful advantages, and then build them so we have a platform of storylines that we can deliver to our customers in order to answer their needs better. So that was our first intention. So that's how we went from this to here. Now, if we look at combining application stories, we were looking at, okay, what are then the steps that we need to take to come to an optimal solution? And one of the first steps was then if we define a story, then based on the story we're going to define like application areas, like a meeting room, like a breakout area, maybe like a specific dynamic working office or a standing workspace. What is then the definition of it and what do we need in there? And then we define that we should then define kind of the service, the system, the content, the platform of the hardware that we need in that spaces, yeah? And to not go into any details. Then on top of that we start a co-development program where this hardware and this platform and these systems are defined by our design teams. And then at the end, because probably we're going to define some kind of empty holes which we can't offer with our current organization, and these blind spots like Menno noticed, we could fill up maybe with partnerships. For example, if we don't have any heating or air ventilation systems, could be that we partner. It could be up that in the future we partner up to make sure that our system and our platforms are also communicating with these kind of systems. Yeah? So that's a bit of a very quick.
Maybe it's a question then, because in lighting we have lighting application specialists. Do you have similar specialists in Hayward?
Workspace
Specialists.
Workspace strategy. Like
we call them Marino.
But
stuff on, I guess.
I know we have ADI specifically for offices.
Between ideation and what
Yeah.
ID stands for.
Yeah.
No, but also let's say practical office design. So if we have, for instance, an office lighting design or a booth space that needs to be designed,
Yeah.
we ask ADI to make a perfect design, including all the light distribution and everything else. How does that work?
It's marquee.
Marquis and Veronique, for example, or outside. Like for Ongetech, we worked with Studio Corona, so it's really different.
I worked with her. I'm very
It's not easy. It's easy, isn't it?
Oh yes.
As long as you say yes.
I did design it. Big story. But then we were looking as well as at the enablers, because we need some enabling features, and then we came to an interesting discussion, because first we need to share the application knowledge we have already in the teams, and then what kind of teams should we have then together. We came up with that it would be nice to have it driven by a creative team, by a design team, by a knowledge team, which is not limited by all the constraints we have in the businesses, but let's go from an unconstrained way and look at the future in a positive way, and then define the solutions and everything, and then we can still move back into more realistic. Yeah. And in order to, and then I like to have then when you mentioned like let's point out a milestone, and like maybe in 2016 we present our future vision, and then deduct what is like resonating in the market and go in that kind of direction. And then also what is kind of very interesting to see is we have already install bases, we have already projects that are running, and we can manage and obtain all the data that is in there, and use that also as a kind of supportive structure to support all stories. So for example, the Deloitte building where we do smart lighting and data that you collected over the years in the offices and research we've done in the past, and then share all this data as a combined force and then move into the market, so and maybe even get IP on certain elements to strengthen the partnership.
Okay, thank you.